Hi, my name is Lauren Brim, and I am the author of The New Rules of Sex. And today, as a part of the Sex and Pregnancy series, I want to talk with you about preparing and protecting your yoni for childbirth. So, during my pregnancy, especially towards the end, it suddenly dawned on me that I had a really great relationship with my sexuality. I really enjoyed my sexuality. And there was this fear that giving birth could potentially damage my yoni or tear me or scar me or stretch it out, and that I wouldn't enjoy my body or my sexuality like I did before I gave birth. And this was a huge concern for me, like sleepless nights, a lot of fear. I thought about having a C-section because I was so freaked out about it. I mean, I can still actually feel the emotion a bit when I think about it. And so I just set about to do everything I could to protect my yoni and prepare it during pregnancy for birth. And I can tell you that I gave birth at home in the water with no tear to my perineum. I had tiny little nicks on my labia, but otherwise intact. And I can tell you that the vagina, the yoni, just closes right back up after you give birth, and sex feels just as great as before you had a baby, if not better. So that's the good news. But I do talk to other women who have tears and, take longer to heal that area or feel like it never really heals. And so I want to give you some tips and some things that I did that I think might help you. So first of all, just your sexual health is connected to your general health. I talk about this all the time. If you're not eating well, if you're not getting adequate sleep, exercise, if you're not having sex, which utilizes the muscles of the vagina, of the yoni, they grip the penis when you're having sex or sex toy or finger or whatever you're using for penetration, and that's how they maintain their strength. So, and it moves the energy and it moves the blood. So this is all part of a healthy pelvic floor and a healthy sexual and reproductive system. So general health, sleep, all of that. I recommend body talk. I recommend acupuncture. I recommend any kind of energy work to just keep everything moving in the body, keep your consciousness in your body. I really believe in the Taoist phrase that blood follows qi or energy or ki, however you call it, and qi follows the mind follows the spirit, and the spirit follows the Tao. So it's important that our spirit, our mind really be present everywhere in our body so that our energy and our blood flows there, and that keeps the body conscious and aware and able to function and protect itself. And in the case of the yoni, it means not detaching from your yoni, but really staying present and conscious with your yoni. So I'm sort of getting ahead of myself here, but when I gave birth, I kept my hand there like the whole time that she was coming down, which was 2.5 hours, and especially at the end, and I got onto my side to slow down her descent and allow my body to stretch. And then I would get on my knees and then back on my side. But I've seen other births where if you birth on your knees, if there's too much gravity, that can rip you. Or if you push too hard, you want to get on your side, slow it down. And that for me was key. And I will do that the next time I give birth. I will definitely birth sort of on my side, like a 45-degree angle, kind of like that. But in pregnancy, what I recommend as well is primrose oil, borage oil. You can take these oils orally, and you can also put them in vaginally at night so that they're, not dripping out as easily. And this helps to really lubricate the area. You want lots of good oils in your diet, lots of good fats. I also recommend really exploring the walls of your vagina. My midwife did this with me, putting pressure where I would feel it as the baby was descending, helping me feel the side walls, the anterior, the posterior, and the cervix. And she was stimulating the cervix. They can do this starting at 37 weeks. So ask your midwife for this or your OB ask them to just gently sort of rub and stimulate your cervix because it will release prostaglandins, and the baby can come out safely starting at 37 weeks. And you want to get those prostaglandins going and things going. And again, it's just gentle stimulation, but it's helping you practice relaxing the muscle in relationship to the pressure, because it's a lot of pressure coming through, and you need to be able to relax and soften in the face of pressure and pain to the tissue, because the tissue is getting pushed out of the way, and that's what hurts, and the bone's getting pushed out of the way and it hurts. You can deal with it, but it's really intense. So it's good to have a little practice session, and you can also do that with your partner. Have them just feel the different walls, help you relax. And lastly, I recommend sexological bodywork. So at 37 weeks, I went and saw a local practitioner here in LA. There are men and women that do this, and they help work to find any pain, tension, numbness anywhere in the vulva or in the vagina or in the cervix and help to release it. And I had a colposcopy, which is where they take like a tiny piece of your cervix to look at it to see if the cells are normal. And I had heard that when you do that, the body releases collagen because it's an injury to the tissue. So I knew I had some collagen, like a tight area of my cervix, and I wanted to make sure that there was no tight spot of my cervix because I wanted it to dilate to 10 centimeters as easily as possible. And in getting that sexological body work, I found that there were emotions stored. I'd had some work before through Tantra and whatnot, but there were some emotions stored sort of deep in and around the cervix, tied in with like an old relationship that I was still sort of processing, as well as my fears around if I was going to be a good mother or not. So it's pretty amazing what is sitting in your yoni. So I highly encourage sexological body work to release any tension in the fascia of the vagina so that your baby can just move through there with no problem, because that's really what causes problems in giving birth, is when you're not dilating, when the baby's not descending. And I've just seen women, once you're in labor, there's like, you just have to deal with what you've got. But if beforehand you've done the oils and you've eaten right and you've practiced relaxing the area and you've had that inner pelvic relaxation and you've done the yoga and the body work and the walking and all of that, and you've dealt with the mental level. For me, protecting my yoni meant doing birth hypnosis to release any blocks I had. It meant doing body talk to release any blocks I had. I spent a lot of money when I was leading up to giving birth, and to make sure that my body would not have any unconscious blocks. And I'm super grateful that my body was safe, my baby was safe, my yoni was safe. We all came through on the other side, and I think we're all better off than we were before. It's an amazing transformative experience giving birth, like amazing. I can't wait to do it again, actually, even though it was that painful. It's just, there's nothing like it, especially after you give birth. As long as you don't tear, you're just in this like new baby bliss. You're sore, but you can take ibuprofen, and arnica, which I recommend as well. Okay, that's the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed this sex and pregnancy series, and let me know if you have any questions. Would love to respond to any of your comments. Thanks.